Hello, welcome to Record Sports Hotline, not so live on this occasion, brought to you by Scottish Water. Every save counts, on the pitch and off it. Keep showers short, only boil what you need and don't leave the tap running. Goals matter, but water is always worth saving. Search Scottish Water today. My name is Daniel Cott. I'm delighted to be joined here in Boston by my colleagues Keith Jackson and Scott McDermott. Guys, it's, almost midnight where we are. We're talking in the aftermath of Scotland's 1-0 defeat to Morocco. I'll maybe start with yourself, Keith. What's your overriding thoughts on that narrow defeat?
I don't know, to be perfectly blunt.
Okay, great.
I'm kind of working it out. We've been just having some discussions with a couple of the colleagues there. Some people are taking a very black and white approach to what went on tonight. I think I'm going to be a little bit more grey and a little bit more nuanced. Did Steve Clarke, I think the first talking point that we really need to kind of look into here and have a bat about with is, did Steve Clarke get his tactics right? I think that's going to become the source of a bit of debate over the next 24 hours. I think the decision to go with Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson on Scotland's left-hand side, it was effectively to try and belt and braces or double bag Hakimi and the influence that he could have on the game. And I totally and utterly understand that, but I totally get it. He's world class. He was always going to offer us a real threat. And I think Steve Clarke came up with a system there which gave us the best chance of defending against it. But in order to do that, he had to make a sacrifice. And the sacrifice was Ben Gannon-Doak. And I'm not sure in my own mind if it was a really smart move or if it just smells a little bit of what we've seen previously at tournaments where we've been overly cautious. Because it meant Ben Gannon-Doak didn't start. Steve Clarke had a bit of I'm not saying a dig, but a joke at my expense in the press conference after, when I said to him, look, you must have been pleased with the way that Ben Gannon-Doak affected the game when he came on in the second half, changed the balance, I think changed the momentum of the game, changed the balance of Scotland's team. I thought we looked so much better. I thought McTominay, we get so much more out of him when we just had that better balance to the midfield with Gannon-Doak offering you an out ball. And Steve Clarke's response, I didn't go into that detail. I just said, you must be pleased with what he's done. And I wonder how that might factor into your decision-making ahead of your picking a starting 11 for Brazil next week. And he's straight off the cuff, his answer was, is he your love child? And I get that, and it's a joke, right? But it also points to me as he was ready for the question.
Aye.
Because he knows that this will be the subject of some debate over the next few days. Was it overly cautious? Should he have started with Ben Doak?
Well, was it, Keith? What do you think? Was it?
I'm not sure, because there's two sides to it. This is what I'm saying. It's a bit nuanced. I'm not black and white on it. On the one hand, we've lost that horrific early goal, and my first instinct is this could get really messy. So Steve Clarke will probably argue, and with some vindication, that because he set up to try and nullify Hakimi as much as he could, and it was a little bit defensive, it kept us in the game. Look, I'm going to be honest as well. Do you look at it and say we stayed in the game because we were defensively sound? I'm not sure we were defensively sound. Morocco could have put us away inside the first 20 minutes, and heavily. So I think we rode our luck. And I'm not sure how much of that was down to the strategic plan and Steve Clarke and the team that he picked. And I'm struggling to get away from the fact that when we took the game to them a little bit more, when Ben Gannon-Doak offered us that out ball, and absolute contrast to the Haiti game where he was in acres of space and we took an eternity to try and get the ball to him. I saw, as soon as he came on the pitch tonight, there was 3 passes, all the same one, all over the top, or try to get over the top of the fullback to let him motor into the space in behind. It's what we were crying out for in the Haiti game. And it was almost as if that was under orders. When Gannon Doak does come on the pitch, that's the move. We, try and just you don't need to be super accurate with it either with that ball. You just need to get the weight of it right, and put it into an area that he can go and attack. And I just thought when we did that, and we did open up a little bit, yes, there were times we rode a luck. I just thought we looked better. And it's a quandary now for what he does for Brazil. He might be tempted to do the same again if Kieran Tierney is fit, because he obviously he picked up a bit of a thigh injury and had to come off. But if he's fit, does he do the same again against Brazil? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of it quite yet, Dan. I'm trying to process it and percolate it.
I don't think it worked, Dan.
I'm not sure
it's a bit more, maybe a bit more black and white. No, I don't think it worked. If you play Kieran Tierney, then you play a back five. You don't play him as a left winger.
I did think that was peculiar as well.
Football over the years, I think it very rarely works when teams try and play 2 fullbacks on the one side.
I'll counter you that Arsenal did use Kieran Tierney laterally in a more advanced position on that left hand side, Scott. So it's not a position that was completely foreign to him.
No, but he's not
a left winger, is he?
No, he's not a left winger, Dan. Exactly.
But he wasn't there to be a left winger. He was there to add a bit of defensive.
Right, but do you remember many times in the 57 minutes that he was on where you thought just as well with Tierney there, because that stopped Hakimi getting forward or getting into the box?
Sometimes these things can be more subtle, Scott. Sometimes you have to look back at it and see. But no, this is where I'm a little bit.
Do you think if Tierney hadn't played there, it would have been McGinn, same as a Haiti game? You're not telling me John McGinn wouldn't track back and double up on Hakimi if he was instructed to be the manager to help Andy Robertson. So I just don't. Like Jacko says, I understand the reasoning behind it, probably what's been in the manager's head in terms of trying to stop not a world-class fullback, but no. I just don't think it worked. And everything, and by leaving out Ben Gannon Doak, and I've been banging on about this all week, Dan, to you, he is our only attacking outlet with any pace at all. The only guy.
And not only that. Sorry to jump in, Scott, as well. Not only that, he's the only player that looked like he could hurt Morocco tonight. The only player that looked like he could really hurt them.
And in the first half, every time we broke on them, we had zero pace. Whether it was Christie, McGinn, Tierney. There was one in the first half where Tierney breaks, and you think you get acres of space. And Kieran Tierney's no slouch by any stretch. But I thought Morocco looked fitter.
There was nothing in front of him, so he delayed because he was, and the boy comes from behind, takes the balls off. So yeah, the other thing that I would say, Scott, and I don't know what you feel about this, but if you're not going to play Ben Gannon Doak, I think you have to play Dykes, because Dykes does give you that out ball. It's a little bit more agricultural in that you're fizzing long balls into him, hoping he wins headers, hoping he holds the ball up. But I don't think Shea Adams gave as much. And I didn't. As soon as I saw the team, I thought, well, I'm not sure what Shea Adams is going to give us tonight. He's mobile and he works really hard, but he doesn't get us up the pitch. No. Ben Doak would get us up the pitch, and Lyndon Dykes would give us the platform to get up the pitch. That's a difficult one for me as well, and I'm not sure that was right.
He'll run all day, obviously, Che Adams, but he's not going to hold the ball up for you and give you a platform. And I'd also throw in at the end there, sorry, I know you were going to say something, Scott, but just after that, just come back to me with this. Did you find it surprising that Che Adams started, Lyndon Dykes come on, Ross Stewart come on, Lauren Shankland didn't get a look in when we needed a goal?
I found it slightly surprising that Ross Stewart came on ahead of him, I must admit.
Yep.
When obviously you're trying to get a goal. See, just getting back to Gannon Doak, Daniel. Jacko mentioned Steve Clarke's presser there. The type of guy Steve Clarke is and the type of manager he is, he's determined for us not to latch on to Ben Gannon and hold him up there as the great white hope, right? And understand managers and coaches, they don't want to put too much pressure on a young player. That when you've got this kind of spirit and camaraderie within the Scotland squad, he's not want to single guys out. He doesn't like singling guys like McDermott and that at times as well, even though he's a Ballon d'Or contender last year. But there's nothing wrong with accepting the fact that within the makeup of your squad, Gannon Doak is pretty unique. He's the only guy that gives us the attributes that he's got. And I just say to the guys there, I think, see if you've got a squad and you've got 3 or 4 Ben Gannon Dokes in it, then you could go at and say for certain games, especially when you're the underdog getting into it, look, we can't play all these guys, maybe need to leave a couple on the bench, or you don't want to go too attacking. Ben Gannon Dokes the only guy we've got who gives us those qualities. In terms of his pace, his running power, getting up people, attacking defenders, being an outball. He's the only guy we've got in the squad. So for me, he has to start. If not every game, then most of the games that you play.
I just think, Scott, when you looked at Morocco, were so comfortable in that first half because they weren't concerned about anything that we could do to hurt them at the other end of the pitch.
Correct.
They knew it was Shea Adams. They had enough bodies back there to cover him. There was never any threat. Nobody was going to get in behind them, and it allowed them to dictate the play. And they just came at us in waves.
We spoke to a couple of players after the game, and they said they were obviously, understandably talking up Scotland's performance in the last kind of 25-20 minutes. And they said they started making mistakes. They did. They started making mistakes because we got at them.
Yeah.
And with the guy in the wing who was scaring the life out the left back, all of a sudden.
Who wasn't a left back? It was Amrabat, wasn't it? Who was
Steve Clarke will probably, I'll say they'll listen to this, but he'll hear all of these comments in the next few days, and he
won't like it.
No, because he'll think, well, no, that was the plan. No, you stay in the game, and then you unleash
go at it for the last half
Ben Gannon Doak. But it's too late, Jack. If you don't get the goal or get the result, the bottom line is we've come out of that game tonight, and I understand the players, being positive about the second half performance. It was much improved for the first. As I say, bringing Gannon Doak on helped us, but we still didn't have a shot on target. Then I didn't have an attempt at goal in the first half. We've no managed a shot on target. We had a couple of penalty claims, which I know we'll speak about. No big chances, and I feel as if Gannon Dokes on the pitch longer, you might just get more chances to get a goal. We're crying out for more creativity, I think, in the team. And I think I'm not saying he's the only guy that gives you it, but as I say, he's got certain attributes that no other guy in the squad's got. So I think he should have started. I think Scotland would have had a better chance of getting something out of the game if he'd have started.
See, I agree with a lot of that. But I'm also wary of the fact that you can't blame the tactics or the setup for the fact that Grant Hanley, I don't know what he was thinking about for the first goal, and that's put us right behind the 8 ball after 70 seconds.
See aside for that, Jacko, do you think in general it's a sloppy start for the team?
It was sloppy again, and I thought we looked nervous. But when you lose a goal after 70 seconds, you're going to look nervous, aren't you?
Right at the start, Angus Gunn hooks a clearance out the pitch. Christie gets mugged in his own half because he's laboured in possession.
I thought he struggled tonight.
I just thought it was a sloppy start, Daniel. See, at this level, we spoke before the game for the stadium about how crucial the start was in terms of no going behind and having to chase the game.
You said that a couple of times, Scott. You said we can't go behind. Top
level, elite football, especially at a World Cup. you need to start with an intensity about you and a tempo about you.
But the thing
And
about
again, we
that,
didn't.
the thing
It
about that
was
first goal,
heighty.
Scott, that I just couldn't fathom was one. I'm not sure where Jack Hendry is,
Yeah.
and I've not seen it back enough yet to work it all out. But I do know from looking at it that Grant Hanley feels the need to shuffle across, and he's right. So he said, and this is so his instincts are right. There's danger to my left. I'm going to have to get across and cover this. And then he has some sort of brain freeze where he's made the right move, he's identified where the danger is, and then he just gets lazy and he throws up a hand. If he just carries on running and closing them down, there's every chance that he deals with the situation. By stopping, by trying to claim offside, and that he's about 2 yards onside. It was terrible. It was a terrible bit of decision making.
Do you not think as well, Keith, it was really hard, I thought, for Scotland to build up from the back with Grant Hanley, and I hate singling him out like that. I thought the other day
he's
against
a brilliant
Haiti,
defensive. See, when your box is under siege and he's got to stick his head on everything, he's terrific at it. But there have been instances, and we've seen it over the past, he's given away penalties that he shouldn't give away. He's guilty of making the wrong decisions at times when he's got time to think about stuff. I don't know what he was thinking there. There's always, with Grant Hanley, unfortunately, the possibility of a mistake, a slip up, and an accident. And that's what we got tonight, and it put us in a really bad spot 70 seconds in. So again, I come back to it. I'm delighted with the fact that Scotland or any team who lose a goal to Morocco after 70 seconds, you could be in the end of a pasting. We weren't. So I congratulate the players at least for having a bit of resolve there and fortitude and digging in. But I still think, you know what, there were 3 or 4 occasions where that game could have really gotten away from us quick, where it could have been 3 or 4 by half time. And I think we have to, this is what I'm saying, I don't think it's just as black and white. I think it's nuanced, and I think I'm actually still not sure what to make it. I'm really pleased that we gave them a game of it in the second half, but I'm also a bit frustrated and thinking maybe if we'd set up like that, maybe if we'd been that little bit more aggressive. Scott, you mentioned it. It had that. It gave off a Euros vibe that
an opportunity missed.
It was a bit like the Hungary game.
Yeah,
I think for memory. We came out of that game moaning about.
But granted, Morocco are a far better team than Hungary, so that needs to come into the discussion as well.
Listen, Daniel, I'm not getting away. I'm not getting away from the fact that it was a gutsy performance with resilience and a bit of steel and a bit of character. Because Jack was right that game could have got away from you so easily. I mean, Morocco should have been at least 2 up at half time. I even think towards the end of the game when we were having our best spell, they could have easily scored a couple in the break. And look, the bigger picture here is goal difference and try to qualify. Try to qualify potentially in 3rd place in the group. So a narrow 1-0 defeat, isn't the worst result in the world. It still keeps Scotland well in it. But I just hope what I don't want is for us to get carried away and think it was a really good performance, because I still think the first half, as I say, that lack of tempo, lack of intensity, sloppy start, concede a cheap goal as much as it was a great finish. Began and Doak there, as I say, we offered very little threat going forward. You make the changes, it improves second half. But I say, did anybody really think Scotland were going to equalise unless it was coming from one of those penalty calls? I must admit, being at the game, I just never felt as if we had enough quality in the final third. So I don't want us to get carried away and think, we've only got beat 1-0 with Morocco, so we should be.
That's a bad mindset to have.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm really pleased with 1-0 defeat.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't buy into that.
No, exactly, 100%.
And I also wonder because, as I said to you, the question I asked Steve Clarke about Gannon Doak, I said, look, with his performance tonight in mind, does that factor into what your starting lineup might look like for Brazil? I wasn't convinced by his answer that, because he says, well, we'll just need to wait and see. So I'm going to ask you that question. Obviously, your answer would be you're starting Gannon Doak against Brazil?
100%. 100%.
Do you think
Well,
Steve
look,
Clarke?
I'm very doubtful about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Very doubtful.
Interesting. Well, look, we'll come to Brazil in just a wee minute because obviously they were playing Haiti tonight. We'll mention that, and I'll maybe get your guys' take on how we might shape up for that game before we wrap up. But I need to talk more in depth about these penalty calls, right? Because I agree with everything you said, Scott. I think we really struggled to create throughout the whole game, basically. But I think we were robbed to an extent because, I mean, we deserved at least one of these penalties. Let's start on McTominay, because I think you thought at first, Keith, that might have been a penalty.
I'm still yet to be convinced that it wasn't. I mean, that was the second one. McGinn was the first one. I think the kind of general consensus seemed to be that the McGinn one was pretty much in the stone wall sort of category. McTominay not so much. It's the same player, and I think it's the same foul that he commits twice. He's overstretching for a ball that he's not getting to, and he's put his leg across both legs of both players. I think it's pretty much identical, and I think it should be. It's a foul in any other part of the pitch.
Aye.
The referee from Uzbekistan was awful, absolutely awful,
absolutely abysmal.
But for both sides, by the way, I thought he made.
Of course, I know, I agree. Aye. Just a really poor referee.
The ref we got in the first game was stunk the place out as well, to be perfectly honest with you. So we've had two really bad officials. But I can understand, right? An official, he's not the best. What I don't understand is, and I wonder if this is a conscious effort that's been made at this tournament to try and avoid situations where the ref gets called over the screen. What's the point in having VAR if that's what we're doing? Because if I was in VR, I'm saying, look, take a minute, take a breath, come over the screen. If you're happy with it, then stick with it. I'm not sure that you've seen it properly. I thought that was what VAR's there for. And also Steve Clarke. I asked him about that, Daniel, after the game. The two penalties, he said, McTominay's one he hadn't seen back. He saw the McGinn one back. And I thought he was very measured and composed, and he wasn't going off ranting. He was said, look, it's a 50-50. If the referee gives the McGinn penalty, VAR's not going to overturn it. And I think he's right about that. I think when he sees McTominay's one back, he'll have a very similar opinion. And he also said that when Che Adams was brought down, he felt that was a pretty strong case for a red card, not a yellow card. And Morocco could have been down.
Diop.
Yeah, Issa Diop. And Morocco could have been down to 10 men. I mean, that was midway through the first half.
Again, we were really struggling at that point. Yeah, that would have really changed.
I'm not convinced.
Well, sorry.
Sorry.
See, before you come back in, Scott. I mean, the McGinn one we need to look at. I mean, some of the pics I've got here, even from these pictures. I mean, you can see in this picture in particular, if I can get it to go up. The player comes in, clearly makes contact with his knee, does not get anywhere near the ball, brings him down, and look, I think McGinn's looking for it. That's what John McGinn does. He does it so well, but that doesn't mean it's not a foul. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Keith. Anywhere else in the pitch, you get a free kick for that.
It's a foul.
It's a foul.
And why the referee hasn't been asked or invited to go over the screen and just take another look, because these are key decisions. I'm not saying it's Scotland. We the balance of play, did we deserve anything more than we got? Probably not. We probably deserved a heavier defeat, despite our kind of better second half performance. But that doesn't change the fact that these are key decisions, and if one of them goes in your favour, if Scotland come away, scored a penalty, whether it was the McGinn one or for the McTominay one later on, we're probably having a really different conversation. And everybody's, I'm not sure how much would be questioning the decision to leave Ben Gannon Doak out, would say, look, do you know what? Tactically, we got it spot on. We fell behind a really poor goal to lose, but we stayed compact, we stayed in our shape, and we got the 1-1 through a penalty, albeit. So this is why I keep saying it's not black and white. Nothing about that performance or the result tonight was is really black and white, even though I'm tempted to say I feel it's saying I don't think we got any more or any less than we deserve from it.
Scott, I'm with you in the sense that I get it was unconvincing by Scotland, and again, like you say, Keith, as well. I actually hate agreeing with you both so much, but you're right. We probably didn't deserve it, but that's elite sport. You know, when you get these opportunities, you take them. And I'm sorry, that to me, that is a penalty every day of the week. That's a foul. There's no chance that's not a foul.
Dan,
You
I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. I thought of the game both on first look, both penalty claims were pretty soft, right? Now I've looked back at both of them on the bus back for the stadium. I mean, I've watched them again one now about 25 times. And that's the big one for me. I don't think the McTominay ones. I slightly disagree with Jack. I think they're different, and I don't think the McTominay one is a penalty. I think the boy kind of puts his leg in front of McTominay, but I don't think there's anywhere near enough contact to get a penalty for that. The McGinn one's different, and that John.
You're saying it's totally different. Look at that. Look at the contact point there. It's the same. It's across McTominay's left side, the exact same way as he came across McGinn's left side.
Nah, it's not.
It's a foot right across.
It's not as much. It's not as much. There's not as much contact. McGinn one's different. No, he waits and then attracts the challenge. And as much as I agree with you, Dan, I think John's been clever and he is looking for it, but that doesn't mean to say it's not a penalty. And I think most weeks, 8, 9 times out of 10, you're getting that. It's going to VAR. I do agree with Jacko that and Steve Clarke that if it's given in the first instance, then it's not getting overturned. So listen, that is a massive call. The Shea Adams one, I'm not having either. I watched that back again on the bus. I know Steve Clarke saying potentially last man. I don't think Shea Adams is getting to the.
That's the point about that. He wasn't getting the ball.
It's getting through to the keeper. So a yellow cards. The most you would ask for there. I
haven't seen a replay of that, so I would want to see a replay. But Steve Clarke did think that he said in his words he's going through one-on-one in the keeper.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't agree. The
McGinn
one. No, the McGinn one's the big one, Dan. And look, you're right. It's a massive call. No, it probably should have been a penalty. Scotland on the receiving end again, a poor decision. I agree the officials in our first two games haven't been great. But again, and I don't want to sound like a doom and gloom merchant, but we need to get away from coming out of games that we've lost, moaning about decisions, moaning about things that haven't gone our way in the game. We need to concentrate more on creating more chances, scoring more goals. We've now been at 3 tournaments, 8 games we've played. I think we've scored 4 goals, if I'm right. There's been an OG in there, a couple of deflections, and Callum McGregor's brilliant goal at Hampden, Euro 2020 against Croatia. That's not enough.
You're right.
I know we're going to talk about Brazil, and there was a lot of talk before this game that Morocco's going to be a tougher game than Brazil, and we've got a better chance of getting a result against Brazil. I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen a couple of the Brazil goals tonight, but just looking at that Brazil starting 11, with Vinicius Junior and Cunha and people like that, it's a tough game. Wednesday, I think this Brazil game in Miami, against that calibre opposition in those conditions, I think that's going to be even tougher than Morocco. So Scotland are going to need to produce some performance, the performance of their lives really, to go and get a positive result and qualify. But even if it's in third place and you somehow manage to scrape through with a narrow defeat again, Scotland are going to need to play well just to get that. I would think.
Do you know who we would play right now if the groups were stopped? You like this one, Keith? Sweden. We would have a Hotline Live grudge match with our
Hotline Live derby.
Aye. Obviously, there's a long way to go. Sweden have still only played 1 game, but aye, that's who it would be at the minute. Right, I won't keep you any longer.
So Henrik, who is in charge of producing the show, so if anything like that was to come about, we'll be doing a live show and Henrik will be pulling the plug on it and sabotaging us and all this.
That sounds like Henrik to me.
Sounds good to me.
As we sit
On
here
yourself,
closing
Henrik. Go for
as
it.
we sit
Go
here
for it, pal. Enjoy yourself.
closing in at 1 a.m. That sentiment, aye, I feel you, Scott, as I think some people say. Before we wrap up, then I'll just finish with this. We've got one game to go. Keith, are we going to get out of this group?
I was one a half glass full guy. I thought something silly was going to happen. Maybe I'll feel better in the morning. I'm tired. I've got a nice big glass of red wine. I'm only just getting a wee sip at, and I really want to get involved with that red wine. And maybe I'll feel better or more hopeful. Do you know, I've got this sick feeling in my stomach now after that tonight that we're doomed to go over the sit in the same movie again. Us at a World Cup, us finding a way of thinking we can qualify and then not quite managing it.
And then being full of regret that didn't score more against Haiti and didn't attack Morocco more.
Do you know what? I've got a doomsday scenario, and I wonder if it's going to come to reality, which would be that we need to go back to Charlotte after Miami and sit around waiting to be told, and kind of knowing that you're facing the executioner, kind of thinking that deep down, but still having to wait 3-4 days for it to be confirmed. The mood in the camp will be rotten. I'm happy to do that if a place isn't confirmed, if it looks as if we're almost certainly going to get it. You know, the percentages say and the stats say that it's more than likely that we will qualify. I fear that we might end up going back to Charlotte almost resigned to the fact that it's not going to work for us, and we're going to have to watch other teams go through in front of us. And I'm sick of this story because it happens every time we go to a World Cup almost.
As much as obviously the permutations and that can be quite complex, Dan, I mean, it's relatively simple in that a narrow defeat will probably be enough for Scotland to go through. I mean, I think looking at the stats tonight, if your goal difference is only -1, you've got 3 points. There's a very good chance you're going to get through. But the danger is, as a touchstone, if Brazil turn it on and
because they want to win the group.
Aye, and Scotland
They
don't
want to
turn
win
up,
the group.
then if goals go in, if it gets to 2, 3, God forbid, any more, then you're struggling a bit, and you're looking at other groups, and as Jacko says, you're hanging on, probably for bad news at the end of it. So, look, the players know what they need to do. They need to try and take something for the game, obviously, but if they can't, they need to keep the score down. They need to stay in it for as long as they possibly can,
And do you know,
just to give them that hope.
Do you know, Scott, the biggest thing, and I've just written sort of big match verdict. My concern is we know what we need now, right? We've got an idea for what's required or what's going to be required in Miami. What we've got no idea is what Scotland side turns up. And tonight worried me because that was a schizophrenic Scotland performance. Good in bits, bad in bits, ugly in others. What version of Scotland? And I like to think we can trust this team, but they do have this habit of just throwing in performances that aren't up to scratch when you don't expect them. Then they're capable of putting on brilliant performances against big sides, big nations. But we're kind of travelling to Miami next week, and you've got no idea what Scotland's going to turn up. And that's a concern for me as well. I'm not feeling great just now. I'm a bit fed up.
I can see that. Well, look, I'll finish by saying I saw enough in that second half to say that we're going to make it through. We're going to get out this.
So he starts with Ben Gannon, don't they?
Aye,
my love child. And you know he's not got to do that, Dan.
Well, look, we'll see. But look, for now, that brings us to the end of a very late night Hotline pre-recorded live. If you're watching this at home, we finished this at 1 a.m, so please excuse us being a bit tired, and please stick with us for the rest of this tournament. We'll be with you almost just about every day That's right, guys, isn't it? With our Hotline live updates.
Every
So stick with
morning,
us.
every afternoon, every night.
In between filing 5,000 words.
You can see that Scott, 21 days in, is still absolutely loving it. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching at home. We massively appreciate it. We'll be back
We
soon.
need an adrenaline shot, Dan. That's what we need. And we didn't get that tonight.
No.
Listen,
So right
I'll-
now, what is it Alan Partridge said? Now,
You're
bear,
right.
bear in
That
mind,
sums it up.
bear in mind that Dan did come out last night wearing Alan Partridge's
Sorry,
running
Keith,
shorts.
sorry, Keith, you're breaking up. Anyway, that's the end of the show.
And one of Alan Partridge's favourite sayings is, Lynn, that was a negative, and right now I need 2 positives. That's how I'm feeling. I'm gonna have another big glass of red wine, and hopefully that acts as the 2 positives, and then we'll get back to work, and somebody will point me in the right direction tomorrow, and off we go again, Scott.
And perhaps some sound advice for you at home as well with a glass of wine. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the show. We'll be back very soon. Thank you very much for watching. Keith and Scott, it's always a pleasure. I'll see you in about 30 seconds. We'll have a big cuddle. We'll all be better. Thanks for watching at home. Cheers.